Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us in our Lions Learning webinars that we are having every Thursday. And tonight it's about e-commerce, and I'm sure it'll be a very rewarding an experience for you to find out just the right way to do it. And I know Christine's going to help us in that. My name is Ruth Roberts. I'm the Global Membership Team Coordinator for the district and also the coordinator for the Zoom meetings. And this evening I will be the moderator. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type them into the question pane. And if it's a question that needs to be addressed with Christine, I'll let her aware of it. If it's something related to the actual workings of Zoom, I'll be answering that for you. I see Bob Charleston has asked a question, is there a two-way communication available? Yes, there is. First off, we would like you to use the question panel as much as possible. Christine may be asking you questions, and if she does, just raise your hands and we can unmute you, and then you will be able to verbally speak with Christine. At the bottom of your screen, you should find different icons, and the ones that you're going to be interested in is the question and answer one, the Q&A, the chat one if you want to talk directly with me online, and the raised hand one, because that's the one you can raise your hand so we know who wants to answer the questions. Before I turn it over to Christine, I'm going to just ask you to kindly fill in a poll for me. And I'm just going to launch it right now. And if you could just take a moment to answer these three questions, it would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, I can't vote.
And what we'll end up doing with this information is to help us with future webinars and future training. We'll also be making sure that all of you get an opportunity to have a survey at the end when you log out so that you can respond to some different questions so that, again, we can improve our options for you. And it looks like we've got everybody in, so I'm just going to end the poll now and share the results. And as you can see, is this your first? We did have one person that said yes and the other four no. They've been with us before, which is great. Welcome back and welcome to the new person. And do you prefer webinars or in person? And we do have one person that prefers webinar, two that prefer in person, and two that prefer both. And size of club, we found out that the majority of you have a size between 15 and 25 members. One of them has actually a club larger than 25. So thank you all for joining us. And for that, I would like to now introduce you to Christine Forsyth. She is from the Tiny Lions Club, and she has a lot of experience from an IT perspective and a lot of experience from a Lions perspective. And she's going to be combining those two skills this evening to help us understand how we can improve our clubs through the process of dealing with e-commerce. So Christine, I'll turn it over to you now.
Okay, thank you. And welcome. And thanks for turning out. I was wondering if all of this was going to be in vain and we'd be canceled due to disinterest, but I'm gratified that you're here. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and hopefully I don't lose control of all of this. All right, so come on screen, there we go. So this is our topic, e-commerce, selling and fundraising online for Lions clubs. And I hope I don't make a lot of noise flipping pieces of paper and so on. So what is e-commerce? Well, e-commerce is, of course, the business of transacting online at a remove. So our agenda tonight, we're going to basically talk about e-commerce briefly, and then get into how to collect money online. We're going to compare and contrast PayPal and Square Payments as your gateways We're going to talk about advertising on Facebook, and then we're going to talk about Beyond Online. And for the PayPal and the advertising, I'm going to call on Bob Charlton because he very kindly, thank you, Bob, provided some excellent background on the Stayner Lions experience with e-commerce. So it will be the two separate things. I'll just ask you, Bob, when I'm ready to talk about your experience just getting to collecting money. And then we're going to talk a little bit after that about your experience advertising on Facebook. So let's move ahead. So section 1 being e-commerce for Lions clubs. So where do we raise money? We raise money by raising money online. We're doing it on websites and social media. I don't know how many of you have a good dedicated website. They are a lot of work to maintain. I hate doing it myself, but you know, it's a necessity in this world. And social media is the other option, primarily Facebook for our age group, and Instagram. So people are very active sharing on social media as well. So it's a great way to drive traffic to your website if you have something to sell or for donations or events. And then, of course, in the community, we do hold events. So we do raise money in person as well as online. And of course, COVID has quite changed the landscape. So this has all become a much bigger deal than it was even 2 years ago. So the benefits of online fundraising for nonprofits, and that's basically us. We can collect donations from anywhere, literally, if they have access to the internet, and that can be through a computer, it can be on a smartphone, any digital device, they can give to our cause. It's pretty cost effective. It costs virtually nothing in the long run. So it's a terrific way to get people to pay with us all sitting at home, just collecting the money. One of the things that happens doing this way is that we capture more donor information. So we then have access to names, emails, addresses, so that when we are going to reach out to these people, and we all obviously for privacy purposes have to ask them to opt in to further information from us, although having spent money on our site, they generally are implying that they're prepared to accept information from us. And then it also gives us an opportunity to become more visible and raise awareness in the community for our organization. So that's really pretty much what it's all about, whether we're doing it online or anywhere else. How do Lions use e-commerce? As I mentioned before, Bob Charlton has provided some great information. They've used Facebook for their car draw, and I'm going to assume successfully, and in a few minutes we're going to talk about that. The Tiny Township Lions Club, obviously that's what I have the most experience with. We used it to shift from in-person polar dipping to the Polar Pledge Challenge by basically going onto Facebook, which is where we get most of our traffic. And we also use e-commerce to sell fireworks online because we couldn't have our in-person fireworks. So those are two areas that we've been quite successful in using e-commerce. So how do we collect money online? Well, our objective is to get the customer or the donors money out of their wallet and into our pockets. And everybody's bought something online, so you know precisely what goes on. You input your payment info, you submit your order, and while all, in the matter of seconds, the e-commerce site, that's our website, or however we are asking for the money, is sending a request to the credit card company. That's the payment gateway. Sends a request to a credit card company. the credit card company instantly decides whether or not there's enough room on that credit card to for your purchase. It tells the gateway it's all okay, and after a few days, your money wends its way into your bank account, which is terrific. All of that happens literally in a nanosecond. So that's how you get money. Now we've moved beyond cash in such a ridiculous way that now there are just infinite ways of paying for things. This is by no means all of the ways you can pay, but they're getting more and more and more every day. And shortly there'll be ways to pay with Bitcoin, but we're mostly used to the Visas and MasterCards, Interac, PayPal, Apple Pay, etc. So that's what we can do online. Any of those things can be done online. There's two spaces, two payment gateways that are primarily in use by organizations like ours, PayPal and Square Payments. So which one is best? That's a tough call. Forbes magazine, in their Forbes Advisor in February, suggested that Square is better suited for your in-person and mobile transactions, while PayPal is best suited for e-commerce and online. But both of them were they rated very highly in the top 10. They do mention that Square received a higher score, but they don't explain why or what that score was all about. And their take is that Square is a better option for small businesses, and effectively that's what we fall into, that focus on in-person transactions. So if you plan to receive payments primarily online, PayPal will more likely suit your needs. Now that's kind of cut and dried, and you're going to see, I think, in a few minutes, I hope, that it's not really that simple. So PayPal versus Square features. Online purchasing, picking up money from people online, Square and PayPal both do that in spades. In person, Square has a very simple, direct way of getting people to give you their money in person. PayPal, as for my researches, is not really that focused on that sort of thing. So it's a kind of a clunky, inelegant setup. So I wouldn't suggest that was a great route if that was a place you wanted to go. Phone orders, Square, you can certainly take phone orders for donations of products, etc. PayPal, I believe you can do that as well, but they weren't terribly clear on how that happened. And I just need to mention that it's been quite some years since I actually managed a PayPal system for professionally in an organization. So things will have changed in the last 5 or 6 years. So credit cards, debit cards, that's typically your debit Visa cards. Direct deposit to banks, yes, money can go directly into your bank, or you do have the option of leaving it sitting around in the both Square and PayPal accounts and move it at leisure. An app, a mobile app for selling, available through Square, but PayPal has a mobile app, but that's for paying for things, not for selling things. So just to be clear. Refunds, both Square and PayPal, you can generate refunds. I somehow doubt you're going to be refunding a donation. In terms of security, they're both highly secure ways of getting money. And an item library, so you possibly be selling stuff as well as your donations. Square, and you'll see later, has a very robust item library. PayPal, I understand you can do some item stuff, and that's the sort of thing you would probably see with your Etsy type retailers. Again, I'm not exactly clear, and I didn't find any really good indications on how that was being done. Checkout flow is how a person who is buying something online is going to experience the checkout. And with Square, it's direct. You pay in the Square on the page, you're done, away we go. With a PayPal, you're going to be redirected to a PayPal site. You fill in the information there, and then you come back into the website that generated that. In terms of websites, Square does give you a free website if you are so inclined. If you don't have one of your own already, your club doesn't have their own website, you can have a Square selling site. If you do have one, you can certainly embed these pages into your own flow. So looking at PayPal first, let me go back just for a second. Sorry, there was a comment I wanted to make about this. And this is how these two companies basically came onto the marketplace. So PayPal's been around for a long time, 20 plus years. And it came up as a way to pay money to people, individuals directly, if you were going to be giving money to your friends, grand, or your kids, or whoever, or to pay retailers. So it was a payment, it was a way of moving money around. As an individual, you would set up your bank account. You didn't have to have a credit card. And that was a critical thing with PayPal. It's for people who wanted to buy stuff but didn't have credit cards. So originally you could set it up where you added cash to your PayPal account. So it was like a kind of online bank account. So you could sort of fill it up and buy your stuff and fill it up. Or if you were selling something or receiving money, it would go into your PayPal account. It's like a little online bank account, and then you could shift that into your personal or your business account. So that was a pretty terrific system, because that sort of thing just simply didn't exist 20 years ago. When Square came along, they're coming at this from a completely different perspective. They're looking at a small retailer, the people that you find at farmers markets, a great example, or artisans, people who wanted to take credit cards, but really just didn't have a way to do that. Well, Square was aiming squarely at those people. Here's a way that you can take credit card payments. It costs very little. You get paid quickly, and you just had a little tiny Square device. It looks just like that logo. It plugged into the earphone socket in your smartphone, and you turned your smartphone into a cash register, and away you went. So that's how these two are coming at the market, coming at e-commerce from two different directions, basically intending to do the same thing, to facilitate the flow of value, money, between sellers and buyers. So PayPal, let's look at PayPal. So you can accept payments on your website. And one of the tricks that was an early thing with PayPal is you created a button. And those buttons you created in your PayPal account, you could stick them anywhere. You could stick them on your website, and now you stick them in your Facebook posts, Instagram, Twitter. And that just basically is a checkout button. So you just clicked it, and zoom, you were taken to PayPal, where you could pay up for whatever it was that you were buying. And that was a pretty handy thing. So if you want to do something that's sort of inventory based, you can create different PayPal buttons for different items or categories. So each campaign in your dashboard, when you're looking at how your sales are going for specific things, those PayPal buttons will, they're basically items, and it's like this campaign or that campaign, this item, that item, and that's sorry.
Excuse me, Christine.
Yeah.
Bob Charlton's got his hand up to talk to you. Go ahead.
Okay, he's coming up in about 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, like right next. So put him on.
Christine, I was just wanting to know, are you scrolling through some screens here? Because I'm not seeing anything but the original title page.
Really?
Yeah, that's all we've been seeing.
You're kidding.
No, I haven't seen anything at all except the title page.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, that's not good. Hang on. So, wow, boy, that's not fair, is it? I don't want to go through all this stuff again. Because all you've been hearing. Now, are you seeing?
We're seeing it now when you click on it.
Sorry?
We see it when you click on it.
You can see
Right
it
now, I see
there,
the one-
but you
yeah,
can't see it when I'm presenting.
Well, I think you.
Can you
were
see
probably-
there?
You were probably just scrolling through your material.
Yeah.
You need
But
to,
I was-
if you're not going to use the PowerPoint view
Oh.
presentation, then you
Sorry.
need to click on each screen.
I'm sorry. See, I'm a Teams user, so I'm not used to this. So there's another thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Well, we're like, halfway through the presentation, you've seen nothing. Okay. That's
Because right
boring.
now, one with the car.
Sorry?
We see the one with the car in the middle.
Okay, you've seen that one?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at right now.
Okay, all right. So you are now seeing this. Okay, maybe I'll do it this way. That probably will work, right? Is that okay, folks?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Wow, that's just silly. So just to very quickly reiterate, so there is the example of the Stayner Lions Club card draw, and then what I was talking about, Tiny Township with the polar dip and the fireworks. So now I have to get through this. Oh, go faster. Sorry.
So that's the button.
This wasn't.
You were referring to?
Sorry?
That's the button you were referring to? The
Yeah, that's a button. Now I have to find a way to get through this without going too fast. All right, that was just talking about that gateway. That was just a infographic that explained how the money went from A to B, and all those different places where people can actually be doing payments. We talked about Forbes, so that's kind of important to see that that table, as I was explaining each one of those individual items and which of these gateways handle these things the best, in my opinion. And yes, now we're on to the PayPal thing and the button business. And now I do want to bring Bob in here to talk about Stayner Lions' experience with how you got online with PayPal. And we'll talk a little later about your experience with Facebook ads. So Ruth, if you can enable Bob.
Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Okay, thanks. So we've been running the card draw for some 50 years now, and I've always sent out mail flyers to solicit our sales, but the cost had been going up significantly, and we were running something in excess of $7,000 a year just for our mail outs. So we decided to try an online system and give a little different view to things. So we thought, well, all we do is sign up for a PayPal account and away we go. It wasn't quite that easy because our website was next to useless. It was just way too difficult to use. So we solicited the assistance of a website developer in Wasaga Beach. And we got her to build us a new website. And during the process of talking about using the website for online sales, she mentioned to us that she recommended to us that we do not accept Visa payments or MasterCard payments directly, because if we did that, the information about the client's credit card numbers, etc., would be embedded in the background of our website. she strongly recommended the use of PayPal instead, because that way we don't get to see the account numbers or the credit card numbers. We're separated by the PayPal function. That eliminated any liability we might have in case there was a lawsuit brought forward as a result of us being hacked. So that is how we ended up going with the PayPal. For our direct sales, we have been for, I can't remember how many years now, but for quite a long time, we have been doing our face-to-face sales at events using a portable Visa machine, much as you would see at any retailer. But this one is a portable unit. And that has worked very well for us because we can use Visa, MasterCard, and debit card to sell our tickets at some place like the Great Northern Exhibition or at a shopping center, things of that nature. That works very well. And we also use that for our phone-in orders. We just take the information over the phone. Then we process the order using the Visa information that has been given to us. And the credit card number never hits our website or any of our electronic information. It stays on the piece of paper until it's destroyed at the end of the sale, at the end of the draw.
Now, Bob, where does that PIN pad come from? How did you acquire that PIN pad?
So we get that from the local TD branch, who are our bankers, and we rent that. And I don't know how much it costs because I don't arrange that.
Okay.
It operates exactly the way a desktop one would for a merchant.
Okay, but it's not integrated. The two things aren't integrated.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, when you sell things on your with your PIN pad, that's completely separate from your PayPal sales, right?
Oh yes, we only use the point of sale terminal when we have a face-to-face sale. Mm-hmm. Or we have been accepting mail orders as well. And if the mail order comes in as a credit card payment, then we'll use the point of sale terminal for that as well.
So that's how you're getting around that.
Yeah, rather than using Square, that's the system we've been using, and only because we actually, I think, have been using it before Square became a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So one of the things that, did you want to add something to that, Bob?
That pretty well covers the process for PayPal as far as we're concerned.
Okay. So so basically PayPal in practice, the pros, obviously very secure payments methods for visitors. It's very widely known. It's international, and it has been in use for over 20 years worldwide. One of the cons, it takes the user out to the PayPal payments page. And people who don't have a PayPal account often get confused. So if you see, and I've extracted that information that you're seeing online there from that website I showed you earlier, they've been very clear that you'll be making your payments through PayPal and you'll be taken to PayPal to complete your transaction. So it does require additional explanation. And that's just the way that PayPal works. And in my experience, when I did this at work, it was the same thing. People were often confused about whether they had to have a PayPal account or not. So that's just one thing. So from the Square world, you can create links or payment buttons for websites, just like you could over there in PayPal. Remember, as I mentioned, that Square started life as a means by which small retailers, artisans, et cetera, individuals could sell using credit cards. So it is coming from a point of sale perspective. So that was always available. You didn't need a second, like a pin pad, separate pin pad to do this kind of stuff. So, and my experience, as I said, is with the Tiny Township Lions Club. So just as an example, the good old Polar Dip, which was canceled again, became the Polar Pledge Challenge. So there's a website that we were able to make a website for free through Square. We manage it through our Square account, and all of these things like donations and so on are very easy to build within the Square world. So we had created this donation, this pledge page. It could be better, but it worked for this year. And we'll probably use it again next year, even if we do the live stuff, because I think that people, are used to paying for donations online now. That's kind of what they do. And I'm just going to take you out to, so a Square dashboard has just an absolute ton of usability. So what you can do is create a link to collect a payment, sell an item, accept donations, and so on, and pop that onto a separate web page. You don't have to have it in a Square web page. You can, I'm thinking that we could even use that to collect our dues, for example, to provide a button for our members to pay their dues. Obviously, there'll be fees, and we'll get into that in a minute. But it also means that, our treasurer doesn't have to go chasing people. Just send them a button link and go, here, please pay. And then add the button to the website. That's basically the same thing. So it's all right there within this Square dashboard. And then you have, I think I've got these next. Lots of good. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. I just wanted to make sure that we were still moving the screen. I see a new screen now. It's okay.
Did you not see my?
We didn't see the dashboard. We were still looking at the Tiny Township poll.
Okay. So you can't see the dashboard. All right. This is very confusing.
What we're looking at right now is January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020.
All right. Well, we'll just leave it at that then. Because if you can't go back out there, that's fine. This is, it's my screen. I don't know why you can't see it. I can see it. Yeah. So there's lots of reports up the wazoo that you can get with this. So the difference between having a separate PIN pad, a POS system, and an online payments is here in Square. You have it all together. It doesn't matter how you sell, it all comes together here in one place. And you can look at all your orders, see where, what your orders were. You're collecting all that information, people's names, addresses, emails, phone numbers, etc. But you're not collecting their credit card numbers. That, of course, is never available to us. You can look at, what you've sold, what time of day you sold it, what your best days were, etc. If you're a retailer, this is really important, but we're not retailers. We're just selling the odd thing here and there. So in terms of costs, Square versus PayPal. So for an online sale, Square is 2.6% for credit cards. PayPal is 2.9% plus 30 cents for each transaction. Debit cards, this is mostly in person, is 10 cents a transaction. So every time you take a debit, it's 10 cents. Phone orders, this is, and I think this is going to be similar to what you're going to pay with an external point of sale device. And that's 3.4% and 15 cents a transaction. And I believe PayPal, it's still the 2.9 plus 30 cents. across the board. Your money is directly deposited to your account through Square in 1 to 2 business days, 3 to 5 business days in PayPal. You know, your experience may differ. I don't know. Refunds. This was kind of an interesting thing. Obviously, as I said, you don't refund donations, so that's fine. But if you did have a refund, your fees are returned by Square. PayPal keeps them. So what can I say? Checkout flow, we talked about that. One is direct and the other one is redirect. And Square provides you with a free website. It's a handy thing to have. For us, may not be for anybody else. So I'm going to get Bob back on to talk about their experience with advertising on Facebook. And so Facebook is now Meta, and the metaverse includes your Facebook Messenger and Instagram. It does cost money. Your ads run on all of the Meta Pro platforms. You can edit your budget, audience placement options, and your creative, and you are tracking the people who see your ad, who click on your ad, and the amount that you've spent on your ad. It does not track conversion, which is basically from eyes on a page to actual purchase. And you must have a website and a link to the order page in order to play on Facebook. So, Bob, do you want to talk about your experience with Facebook ads? This is the information on the right, the ad parameters that you provided to me.
Okay, the Facebook ad, I guess I'll just tell you a little bit about how things progressed for us. The first time I tried to set up a Facebook ad, it wouldn't load, or basically it told me that they were considering whether they would run it or not. Shortly thereafter, I got a telephone call, or actually an email message from them saying that they wanted to set up a telephone interview. We arranged that, and I was a little concerned about what I was getting into, but it turned out to be the best thing ever, because I don't think I would have been able to get the ad up and running properly without going through the coaching that they provided. So got the ad up and running. Key thing is to keep the information with the ad simple. You don't need to go into a lot of detail about how you can pay or anything of that nature. It's the idea is to give them the basics, and then on that page you'll see this little button there that says Learn More. Learn More is probably a lot better than putting in order now or buy a ticket, something like that, because Learn More tells them exactly that they are going to get some more information someplace else, and it doesn't sort of give them the feeling that they click and they're committed. But when they get to the next page, that's the order form, and it gives them all the information of how they can pay for it, whether they want to do an e-transfer, whether they want to order by mail, which if they click on that will take them to the order page. If they want to continue on the order page that they're on at that point, it would give them the option to use the PayPal. When we started off, the first, we wanted to just basically see that it was running properly, and we we set the cost at $5 a day. And that's the basis on which you pay for your ads. You determine what your budget is. For us, we started with the $5 just to sort of let us ease our way into it. Once we saw it was working properly, we raised it to $10, and eventually we raised it to $20 a day. For that, we had about between 20 or 25,000. I think we peaked at about 25,000 views on the ad. There is a conversion to how many people actually go to the order page, but I don't know what that is. However, you can change your ad during the process. So what that means is that If you'd like to change the photograph that accompanies the advertisement, then you can do so. If you have an early bird prize, you can put in something about the early bird prize in so many days, something of that nature to give that a little bit of an extra push. But I think for the most part, we left that ad running almost the whole way through until we got just towards the end. We had a very successful draw for this particular car, and it was the first time we ever sold out on one of our draws. So as we got close to the end, we started pushing the information that there was that the draw would probably be finished shortly or something like that. I think I included, 500 tickets left or 400 tickets left, things of that nature, to impress upon people that they had to buy now or miss their opportunity. We have about 1,100 viewers, followers on our Facebook page. So that gives a pretty good multiplier effect, because anybody who likes our page, they often have friends that will follow comments that they might make that show activity on our page. So we get a multiplier effect from that. But when you go out to the advertising, you're hitting people who have never seen you before. So the thing, of course, is we can only run an ad in Ontario. So that is the limiter that you have to put onto your Facebook ad. Then the targeted audience, we chose 35 to 65 plus. And that was a parameter that Elmville was using for their draw. So I thought, well, if it's working for them, it should work for us. And sure enough, it did. Also, then people who are interested in lotteries, that focused it a little closer to people who were already prepared to buy a ticket if the opportunity presented itself. And we were getting about 3,600 to 6,000 views whenever we put an ad up. That seemed to be sort of an automatic hit for us. We had a lot of activity with whenever we put something on our Facebook page that changed the ad or brought people up to date, the activity just popped for us. And that's where you see that 3,600 to 6,000 views per day in some cases. I don't know, is it, Christine, do you have any questions that pretty much covers it?
Excellent.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
The difference between the $5 a day and the $15 a day, that's how many times, like, because you're paying more, it gets posted on there more often? Is that what it is? Okay, so what happens is the more you pay, the wider the audience of the ad. Okay. So Facebook will give you so many contacts for the $5. Then if you pay $10, you get that many more, $15 more again. So you can increase your audience by paying more. Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, that's great. Now, obviously you have to have a Facebook account, and somebody has to pay for that. So you also have to provide a credit card, correct?
Yeah, so what we did there is that I just undertook to put my own credit card in there when I set up the ad. And they charged me, I believe it was when we first set up, when we first started dealing with them, it was as soon as you got to $30, they billed my account. Mm-hmm. After we had been working with them for a while, they billed us when it became $200. Okay. So the longer you ran the ad, the more experience they had with you, the less often that your credit card got charged. But I don't know what the ratio was exactly.
Tiny Township Lions also did an ad to promote something, and I honestly can't remember what it was. It was probably fireworks, because that's our major fundraiser. So same thing. So somebody has to provide a credit card. That's integral to the whole thing, and obviously be managing your Facebook page so that this stuff is going out when you want it to go out. And I think you mentioned also, did you pin that post to the top of your Facebook page?
Yes, whenever I put a new ad up, well, whenever an ad is running, I always pin it to the top of my Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, no matter what the person comes to our Facebook page for, the first thing they see is the ad. Right,
that's good practice.
Now, something else that I didn't mention, but it's a really valuable tool. Over the years, I have become a member of a number of different community Facebook pages.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, there's one for Clearview Township, and there's one for New Lowell, and there was one for anyway. These individual ones. Each time I make a post relative to the card draw, I share it to one of those other pages.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we get probably half at least of the activity on our Facebook page as a result of posting there.
Now, are you the main administrator for your Facebook page?
I am, yes.
Okay, and what kind of time does that take you in a?
Not much, really. I try to post something fairly regularly during our draws so that people keep coming back to the page for things. Even I will find something about Lions International I can post. That if that brings them to the page, once again, they see the advertisement first. I might advertise a community event, and that will bring them to our page again. But apart from the advertising, I don't spend a lot of time on the Facebook page. Right now, it's very quiet. If anybody went in there, they'll find there hasn't been a lot of things added, but there's not really a lot to put in there. Certain times of the year, it's very busy, and I'm quite active. But other times, I'm not all that active.
I think primarily people are not. You can't really expect for people to just wander onto your onto your website. Certainly, I think most clubs should be finding that social media is kind of like the first port of call for everything, and then for all the other stuff, you're going to be sending them out to the website for more information. But it's not, they're not coming into Facebook via the website; they're coming to the website via Facebook or Instagram or something like that. So that's pretty much been the case for a while. Unless people are looking you up on Google, and I'm going to assume that you have a presence in Google. So, oh, I did want to add that. So this was the other image that you shared with me, Bob, about basically what it looks like from the admin page on Facebook, right?
Yeah, so whoever is administering the club's Facebook page has access to this particular page. And it's this is a screenshot of the computer open at the Senior Lions Club page as I see it. This is not what the public sees. And on the left-hand side, you'll see the Manage Page panel. And I put this in because if you scroll down that page, you'll see a little icon for Ad Center. It's got the arrow pointed out there. If you click on that, it will take you to the page where you can construct your ad. It also takes you, at that point, you can also edit your ad. You can pause your ad, you can restart it. There's a lot of things that are available on the Ad Center section of Facebook. But that's the key thing, is that's where you get started, right there at Ad Center.
Okay, great. Okay, so I think the last section I had in my little presentation here is taking this beyond online and out into the community. So we've kind of touched on this earlier in the presentation, but the most important thing to note here is the first column. Since COVID-19 started, people are using cash 52% less. And they are certainly using everything else either the same or more. So it looks like, I mean, that 52% less cash is translating to about a 40% rise in debit, PayPal, credit card, Interac transfers, EFTs, et cetera. So, and we pretty much knew that. That's not a surprise, but the fact that people are, basically popping into the ATM less frequently is going to be, if not already obvious, become extremely obvious if you're out in the community and you are trying to extract money from them. So we talked briefly about this for PayPal customers. You have to create a QR code. It's a very inelegant system, and it requires that the person that's buying something have their own PayPal account and that they pay that way, which I think is probably, Stainer already had a PinPad POS system, point of sale system. So, I mean, this never really would have come up for you, but if you didn't have that, and those point of sale system PinPads, I don't know what your bank charges for it, but they can be, about up to $30 a month. So that's a cost and a consideration if you were going to do that kind of hybrid setup. Obviously, because Square Payments was always, it started with, how to get money in the field. That's developed over time. So now we have TAP, and there's pretty easy way to get people to pay with TAP and chip cards. One of the things that was very interesting with the old Square gizmos, where they did the mag stripe, they were extremely unreliable. And because the US was so slow to adopt chip cards, Square was really behind in having a secure means by which we could, ensure to get that the money. So now, they've come on board. It's an American company, so we've got lots of opportunities and ways to get money in person from Square. So it's a really flexible solution that lets you take payments either in person or online. So that's the same system. It's all the information is together in one place. Funds are deposited the next day in your bank account. The costs are quite reasonable. There's absolutely no cost for that online store with unlimited inventory items. And but you only get one account administrator only, but you get around that by having a shared mailbox or whatever. That's how we do it through Teams. And there's a hardware component. The reader for contactless chip is $59.99 now. Requires a cell phone with data or wireless connection. Obviously, it accepts tap payments to the user limit, and it accepts chip payments with the buyer entering their PIN on the connected cell through an app. The Square terminal is now $3.99. We bought ours last year for $2.99. Also uses wireless internet or tethered to a cell phone for remote, accepts tap, accepts chip, debit, credit, the whole shoot and match. So you don't have to worry about, what type of payments you're taking. The Square terminal, because we sell fireworks, and those fireworks, like we have, over 100 items, physical items. We actually have every item in our little terminal there, in our library, so to speak, and we enter them so it adds up the customer's purchases. And we know it's connected directly to the back end. So we're selling online. If we've sold it in person, it comes off the inventory online. You know, this is our, you know, this is our thing, the selling of fireworks. So this may not be a deal for other Lions clubs, but, you know, you may ultimately decide to do some kind of form of selling a product. So it's pretty good. And I have to say that it's been adopted really well with our members. So, and the Square Payment Dashboard that consolidates both in-person and online sales reporting. So you don't have, you're not taking payments on this device and payments on that device, and then having your treasurer have to figure that out. Lots of different reports. It's a free account, pays nothing except the fees. You can have unlimited numbers of team members accepting payments with connected cell phones, and the little devices, the cheapest one being $59. And you can email notifications for transaction and deposit notices. Everybody who's, you know, in that shared mailbox in our case will get a notice about what we've sold on any given day. Then we have a complete transaction history. Free online store, no cost. It's an easy website builder. You've got unlimited items. It's connected to Square Payments in the dashboard. You got lots of reporting. As I said, only one account administrator, no custom domain. That's the other thing. So you'd have to basically link that page links to the online store. And so just as a sample cash register, I just wanted to show you this because we're actually doing the Easter egg hunt tomorrow at Wyvale Park, and we'll be selling hamburgers, hot dogs, hot chocolate, juice boxes. So on I've got an iPad and the terminal, the two separate sales options. So that's what the dashboard looked like. You just click on that hamburger, hot dog, it adds it up, you charge it, you've got the little device beside you, they tap and away you go. And then you know exactly what you've sold of each of those things. We're doing the same thing for our registrations. And fireworks sales is our hybrid sale model. So we actually have it available for pickup by ordering online, and we sell in person. As I said, inventory updated dynamically. So we know if we've sold 10 of this type of thing and they're all gone in person, you can't buy it online. And again, daily sales reports. So what's right for your club? If you're looking for online only and you just want some quick, easy buttons for payments, a PayPal account is a pretty easy, straightforward way to go. If you want to try the hybrid selling model where you're going to be actually selling stuff online and in person, you can have various items and categories for merchandise, donations, you know, consumables. You saw that we had our refreshments. We have actual merchandise. We've got donations where we have event registrations. It's a $2 fee. I'm thinking also we can put up our annual fees up there so people can pay all of that. So it's all pretty straightforward for us. And we're pretty happy in the Square space at this time. Bob, you want to pitch for PayPal? Yep.
Sorry, Bob Murray has a question for you.
Yep.
He wants to know if he asked, can you set up more than one cell phone on the same reader so you can give the reader to someone else while you keep your own phone with you?
No, because the reader is actually tether. It's actually a Bluetooth, so it's connected to a specific device.
Thank you.
And, you know, depending on what you're selling, one of the things that I didn't mention is that by having this system and expanding it the way that we did with the fireworks sale, for example, our per sale value has gone up and up and up. Like we're selling, you know, on a single sale up to like $700 for stuff, $500 here and there. Amounts that people just simply would never have been able to wouldn't get to with cash, or they'd, come and look, and if they didn't have the cash, you can get fireworks anywhere right now. So they just nip on over to a store that had the ability to pay with credit cards. So that's just really opened things up for us. And it's the sky's the limit in that regard. Bob, did you want to say something about PayPal? And, are you absolutely in love with it and you wouldn't do anything else?
Well, it's working for us at this point in time. So, I don't think we're going to change what we've got set up at the present time. Something I did make a note of here is, I don't know whether it was totally clear or not, but you don't actually need a PayPal account to use the system.
No, to buy, you don't need, that's true. I mean, and what I'm talking about here is from a seller perspective. And that's a slight disconnect for a lot of people. They should know that by now. But as a buyer, you don't have to have a PayPal account. You can it's just there to let you pay by credit card. But just by virtue of the longevity of PayPal in the marketplace, people have come to know it as a way of an account that you use to pay for things. So there is a tiny bit of confusion, but you do get around that by explaining what's going on your website. That's just an extra step, but it works well, and Forbes magazine thinks it's pretty good too. So
actually, I do have a question, if I can impose upon you, with regard to the Square.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't quite understand. You said that you can only have one phone attached to one device. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So if you had more than one person selling, for instance, let's say more than one person selling at an event, they would each have to have their phone and a Square device.
And a device, yeah.
A separate device.
Yeah.
Because we have an arena booth that we sell, hot dogs, French fries, and things of that nature. So the Square sounds good, but not everybody is. We've got a rotating work party there, so whoever had the Square would have to be there for every shift.
Well, now that's where your Square terminal comes in. Now, is there internet?
Yes.
Okay, so the Square terminal, that's a little gizmo that looks like that down on the left.
Right.
All you need is the internet for that. It's the same with this one here as well. So, but you need the internet with the Square terminal. Now that's not cheap. They're up to $3.99 now, but all that wants is the internet. The only reason why we tether them is because we're sitting in a park under a tree. We don't have internet available to us. So that's where it needs to be tethered to the phone. It needs to find a way to get to the internet. You can use these offline, but the thing is, if anything is rejected by the credit card issuer, you're not going to know until you get it back and log on to the internet, and all of this stuff gets loaded back up to the internet. Because that the whole thing with a credit card or a debit card is it has to, it's connecting to a bank somewhere. And the bank or the card issuer is saying yes or no. And we couldn't do that with a $700 sale. We are not going to take the chance that somebody's going to walk off with $700 worth of fireworks. And this has happened with the old swipe cards. This is years ago. I'm talking, 10 years ago. That, by the time you got back to load it all onto, you made sure that you were back online and discovered that something was rejected or that you had a problem. So all that little device needs is the internet. It'll run all day without plugging it in. And all your items are in there, just like you got your hamburger, your hot dog, etc. all those items are, you know, available, and you just tap it, tap, and away you go. So, you know, for your booth, it's just a cash register. That's all it is. So if you're selling stuff in a booth like we'll be doing tomorrow, that's your cash register, that little device.
So the only reason you have the iPad or a phone there is to provide you with the internet connection?
No, actually, this is the second one. So we have both. We have both of these guys. So because we can't be in two places at once. That's the biggest problem. Much as I would love to be in two places at once. So just to give you an example, we're going to be paying, people are coming in and paying $2 for their registration. And at another location in the park is where the barbecue is happening. So we're taking money in two different locations. So we need two different things. We have one terminal and one reader for contactless chip. So that reader has to be connected. It has to know what we're selling. This funny little device at the top there, it doesn't know what you're selling unless it's connected to something. Whereas the terminal knows what you're selling as long as it's able to connect to the internet. I'm not explaining that very well.
Well, I guess I'm confused. You said it had to be tethered. So to me,
yeah. Well, the contactless chip tapper thing on the top, the $59 thing, has to be attached as it's Bluetooth. It has to be attached by Bluetooth to something that can connect to the internet to make those payments. Because remember, every time somebody is paying you, that information has to go to the card provider.
So that Square is collecting the money, going to the bank, taking it out of that person's bank and putting
Correct.
it into,
yep,
you know, the Lions account.
I'm just going to go back. Whoa, let me just go back here. Hang on. Oops, wrong place. I'm going to go back here because there was a, come on. Oops. Okay, this is the one I want. All right. Just get rid of that. Ah, sorry, this is not moving very quickly. Come on. Come on. Just give me a second here. What is wrong with you? There we go. All right. This is explaining it. So the customer's inputting their information. It has to send the payment information somewhere for the credit card company to say, yes, you can spend that money with that credit card. It verifies it, tells the payment gateway, PayPal or Square, it's okay, you can give those people their money now. That has to happen. It can't happen without a connection to the cloud, to the internet. It has to be connected in some way. If you are in a place that has Wi-Fi, you have no problem with your little terminal, the little one, like it's a miniature cash register. That's going to hook up automatically and away you go. The little Square one, the little tapper that also takes chip, has to be connected as a Bluetooth peripheral to a phone or an iPad in order to send the information through the internet to the credit card company or the bank. Is that clear now?
Christine, Bob Murray has a question. I'm going to turn on him so he can speak. Bob, you're muted. If you could unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thanks, Ruth and Christine. I think I have the same question that Bob Charlton had. I've been at the farmer's market last summer with the square reader, the little chip reader, the $59 special, linked to my cell phone.
Yeah.
Wanted to leave and have Shellswell use his cell phone to take payments after I left. Can he set up his cell phone to talk to that same square reader?
Absolutely.
So he would go through the same process I went through.
Yep.
And all he has to do.
You need the Square app.
Yeah.
And, you know, it depends on how you're doing it. We, at the Tiny Township Lions Club, pretty much everything is set up as an item. We did it for the yard sale, so that was a variable amount. It was, so the item we were selling was garage sale, yard sale, and we could just put in whatever amount we wanted. Other items actually have dollar values associated with them, like as you saw, our hamburgers and hot dogs and whatnots.
Yeah, I get that. But it's getting the phone, Will's phone linked up to our bank account. He does that in setting up the app.
Yeah, you just set up the app. And this again is it's how you want to do it. You can, in your Square account, you can, you know, add team members and they can, you know, they can just sign on, or, you know, they can also sign in as, you know, the master account. It's really up to the individual. It's up to the club how you want to handle that. But I don't know if I can, if I get rid of this, I'm going to just quit out of that. Yeah, whatever. Can you see my screen now?
No, you need to share your screen again.
Okay. Oh. All right, share that. Are you seeing my
Not yet, but it looks like it's trying to come up. There it is. Yes, Tiny Township Lions Club.
Okay, sure. Okay, good. So team, there we go. Team. So you can add team members. And this is pretty much how you do it in your Square account. So the team member will get an invite, and you can make the permissions that they can sell and not see everything else that's going on, right? So we'll just give that. So everybody has to actually accept the invite as a team member. So you really should, you know, do that in advance. It's hard to get, yes, it's hard to get people to do this sort of stuff. So, you know, they haven't completed it. I don't know why Jillian's in there twice, but that's the way to do it. Then you've just got people who are just taking money for you. You can hand it off. We have done it where, you know, it's been on Jillian's phone and we've just handed off the phone and the Square, but that's not ideal. So
basically we would set this up on our computer at home, or we would set that up in the field using their phone to set it up. I'm a little technically challenged, obviously.
Well, you have to send them an invite to do it, and they have to have the Square app on their phone so that they can log in to your Square site in order to collect money for you. And then they just you know, attach the device by Bluetooth, the same way they would do if they were doing earbuds or, you know, whatever they do with Bluetooth.
Okay, in the interest of time, Christine,
Yeah.
that's all I needed to know is, yes, it can happen.
Yep.
So now I'll spend some time and figure out how I can make it happen, because Bluetooth and earbuds is Greek to me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, it is possible. You know, you
Okay,
can have,
good,
you can
that's
do,
super.
the more of these things you have, the more places, the more people can actually be going off and taking money. But a means by which to reach out to the cloud, to the internet, is critical, because you are, you know, you're authorizing credit cards and bank cards. And that's critical. And the last thing you want to do is to get home and find out that, you know, you can't find the person. We've done this, we've lost money because people have, you know, just simply, you know, we've asked them to provide the right information and they just ignore us. So anyway. Any other questions?
Christine, people are wanting to know if it's possible to get a copy of the PowerPoint. Is that something you can send me and I can forward it out to them?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And if people want to reach out to me and ask any questions about Square, I can help them. As far as PayPal is concerned, I am not, you know, as I said, we don't use PayPal anymore. So that's kind of beyond me, but I'm sure Bob's been great in, you know, helping me understand how they've been using it, and especially with the Facebook ads. So, you know, depending on whether Bob's agreeable, that'd be a good resource.
Okay, actually, Christine, if you could be kind enough to put your email address in the chat box so people can make a copy of it.
Where's my little chatty box? Okay, I'm just going to make that big again. Chat box, chat box. There it is. Okay. Yeah.
And just select everyone, and this way they'll all get it.
Yep. Oops, can't even spell my own name.
Well, while Christine's doing that, are there any other questions from the audience? Bob, your hand's still up. Are you still wanting something, or is that?
Actually, what I was going to suggest was that I tried to put my email address into chat, but it won't accept it. But if anybody wants to get a full copy of the information I sent to Christine, I'll be happy to send it out. If you send me a message to robertcharlton@rogers.com.
Great.
Is that right?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone's got both email addresses. Thank you both very much. Since there's not any other questions, I would like to first off thank Christine. You've been very diligent in making sure we got all the information. We really thank you for that, and looking forward to that PowerPoint. And Bob, we would like to thank you as well for sharing what your club has done and its success. That makes us feel a little better about trying it on our own as well. So thank you both very much. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Bob, for providing all that background. That was really helpful.
I do have a screen I would like to share with you. It's regarding the upcoming, I'm not sure if you're seeing the right one or not. Oops, hold on. Try this again. So I'm trying to show you what other webinars are going to be coming up. We do have a number of them. Share my screen. As you can see, they all come up on a Thursday at 7:30. Now, I want to make sure, can you guys see it? Christine, can you see the list?
Yep, I can, yeah.
Good, okay. So as you can see, we've got effective meetings coming up next week. May 5th, we have childhood cancer. May 12th, hunger, food waste, and climate. On May 19th, we have retention for membership. May 26th, we have accessibility. And hopefully all of your clubs have completed the survey that was sent out to you regarding that. Then on June 2nd, we have diversity. And we actually have an out-of-district person that's going to be doing that for us. And June 9th, we have orientation. In addition to these webinars, we do have some in-person training coming up as well, and that will be for the presidents, secretaries, and treasurers. And the presidents is June 18th, and it goes from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, and will be in Alliston. And the secretaries and treasurers will be in 2 separate rooms, both at the same time at the tiny hall, and it will be from 9 till 3. So if you have an incoming president, secretary, or treasurer, please let them know that those dates are available, but they need to register so that we can make sure we have enough material for them. And hopefully we'll see some of you at some of these other webinars that are coming up. So I thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Ruth.
Okay, and that's our session for this evening.
Thank you. Good night, all.
Night. Don't forget to fill out the survey.